So guys, I think it's safe to say that the Clippers are ready to implode at this point. They are down 2-0 to the Mavericks. Their two stars are getting upstaged by a younger superstar in Luka Doncic, and as an organization, they might be in the worst situation in basketball right now. Because looking at the fact that the Clippers do not really own their own first-round pick until 2027, this is as clear-cut as a win-now situation as possible, and wouldn't you know it, the Los Angeles Clippers are not winning. In fact, not only are they not winning, but Luka Doncic is talking a ton of shit in the process. Just watch right here, 4 minutes left in the game. Mavericks are up by 5.
This is a big possession now. 4 to play for Luka. He's got Beverly on him. So goes straight to the rack.
He is too little. That is where we're at right now. Luka is not only beating the Clippers, he is embarrassing them and he is pouring it on. And let's not forget, in the last few weeks, everyone was talking about how the Clippers lost games on purpose to avoid a potential Lakers matchup. Well, let's be honest here. The Clippers messed up, and they messed up big time. They chose to go against a team that took them to 6 games last season without Kristaps Porzingis. They chose to give Luka another chance at them. They chose to give Luka a chance at redemption. And now they are paying the price, which means when we look at Kawhi Leonard and his situation, and we remember the fact that he has a player option and can opt out after this season, guys, I've got to say things could get very, very interesting in Los Angeles very, very quickly, and also things could go very, very wrong. So what's up, guys? Mike here, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at what is going wrong with the Clippers, how disastrous of a situation this could end up being. I mean, we're talking about a similar situation to the Brooklyn Nets owing the Boston Celtics all of their first round picks for a long time. And then, of course, in this video, to top things off, we're going to talk about Luka and the Mavericks because they have been unreal, especially Luka. Jumping into this video though, I think we really need to start with Kawhi Leonard and his future. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, Kawhi going to the Los Angeles Clippers has been a severe disappointment. I mean, let's remember, first off, this man left the San Antonio Spurs to go to the Toronto Raptors for 1 season. The reason being that in San Antonio, Kawhi felt like he was not living up to the marketability potential that he had. Kawhi thought that if he were to go to a bigger market, he would sell more shoes, he would sell more jerseys, he would make more money off the court, which in theory sounded correct. And so after winning a championship in Toronto, yes, after leaving a championship winning team to go to Los Angeles, well, Kawhi banked on the Los Angeles Clippers becoming a top contender. He banked on this team doing everything it could to win a championship. And I will say that is exactly what the Clippers have tried to do. They have loaded their team with veterans, they've loaded their team with players who are in win now mode, but as we all know, the Clippers had a very disappointing playoffs last season, and now down 2-0 to the Mavericks in the first round of the playoffs. If the Clippers lose this series, it is straight up a disaster, and there's just no getting around that. But before we continue, guys, I want to say thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. And guys, I need you to listen closely here because DraftKings is hooking you up. For every day there is playoff basketball this season, you have a free shot to win up to $10,000. Yes, you heard that right, $10,000, and all you have to do is 1, download the DraftKings app, sign up for DraftKings, and then enter one of the 2 free-to-play daily pools that have up to $5,000 in total prizes. Guys, trust me when I say this is an awesome deal. All you have to do to enter is download DraftKings or just go to the link in my description, then use the promo code Korzemba, and boom, you are going to be eligible to enter those free daily pools where there are $5,000 in total prizes per pool. So guys, make sure to go download DraftKings, make sure to use the link in my description, and make sure to use promo code Korzemba, and also make sure to jump on this deal. You have a free shot to win up to $10,000. I do want to mention that recently on Woj's podcast, Woj himself said the following: I think Kawhi is staying with the Clippers. He hasn't said that publicly, and he probably won't until the day he signs that contract. I know there's been some mention of Miami. Could Miami be a sleeper for him? I think he's where he wants to be geographically. I think he's gotten along very well with the organization, with management, with ownership. Okay, so that is where we were at going into this year's playoffs. However, with that in mind, I think a first round playoff exit pretty much would change everything if I was Kawhi Leonard. Currently, as it stands, they have Paul George signed until 2025, where in 2025, he is a player option that is worth around $50 million. Marcus Morris is also signed until 2024, a contract that guarantees him $64 million. Patrick Beverley is also signed to about $14.3 million million next season. And then we have the curious case of Luke Kennard. Now, when talking about Los Angeles Clippers screw-ups, Luke Kennard's contract is no small thing here. Just this very season, in December, the Clippers committed to Luke Kennard to the tune of a 4-year, $64 million contract extension. That includes a player option for around $15 million in 2025, but looking at how Luke Kennard has been playing, I'm gonna go ahead and bet that he's going to take that contract extension. Why, oh why did the Clippers commit so much money to Luke Kennard, a man who has 2 DNPs in the playoffs so far? Yes, you heard that right. Currently, Luke Kennard is not good enough to play on the Clippers roster during the playoffs. However, he is owed $64 million until 2025. Now, I bring this up not to bag on Luke Kennard. That's not the intention here. My whole point is the Clippers made a lot of noise when they signed Kawhi Leonard and traded for Paul George. They had this whole thing. They were saying that they were going to take over Los Angeles. If you remember correctly, the battle for Los Angeles was a very real thing that everyone was talking about. But since that early hype, I don't think things could have gone any worse. If we are taking a step into Kawhi Leonard's mind, are you really going to commit long-term to the Los Angeles Clippers with this roster situation? And guys, I don't think anyone really has the answer to that question. He has a lot on his mind right now for his basketball future. Because honestly, is Kawhi getting the most out of his marketability in Los Angeles? With the Clippers, I would say definitely not. I think the Golden State Warriors would be the perfect fit for Kawhi Leonard. Now, of course, playing with Steph Curry, playing with Draymond Green, playing with hopefully a healthy Klay Thompson would be huge for Kawhi. But on top of that, looking more into Kawhi's mind, he has said that he's comfortable where he is. Now, I know California is a big state. I know Oakland and Los Angeles are not exactly right next to each other. However, if he were to go to the Golden State Warriors, Kawhi would at least be staying in California. He would at least be somewhat close to the mansion that he just bought. But what's more important to me is that marketability was not only a huge thing for why Kawhi left the Spurs, why he left the Raptors, it was basically the main thing, it felt like. On March 11th of 2021, this season, the NBA did release their top jersey sellers for the first half of the season. On that list, Kawhi ranked 13th, just 1 spot ahead of Trae Young, and he was also behind Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Zion Williamson, who plays in New Orleans. Of course, I know Zion has hype, but you have to imagine Kawhi came to Los Angeles looking for increased marketability, and that has not exactly happened for him. In fact, that same report that I just mentioned has the top 10 most popular team merchandise sales. And get this, the Los Angeles Clippers are not in the top 10 in the entire NBA. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors, they rank in as number 3. And the Dallas Mavericks rank in as number 8. Personally, I would love to see Kawhi go to Dallas and play with Luka. That to me is more of a pipe dream. I think Golden State makes more sense. However, it is also something to keep in mind because the Mavericks do have a ton of cap space this offseason. If Kawhi wants to go there, he's gonna be able to go to the Mavericks. Now, as for how the Golden State Warriors would get Kawhi, a lot of people have mentioned things like the Warriors don't have the cap space for this, but I think it's pretty simple. Right now, as it stands, Kawhi Leonard's making around $34 million. He also has a player option for $36 million. And if we look at the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins is currently making $29.5 million. So if you were to combine Wiggins with James Wiseman potentially, then yeah, the Golden State Warriors could pull this off. Now, as for the Los Angeles Clippers and what they do with the rest of their future, I mean, I don't exactly know what Paul George is going to do if Kawhi Leonard leaves because I don't see another star going to the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't think that the Clippers are going to pair Paul George up with someone better than Kawhi Leonard. So that means you'll have a Clippers team with Paul George as your best player. And what does that really get you? A team that is around a fringe 8-7 seed at best? The problem is the Clippers have no reason not to compete for that 8-7 spot because they basically owe all of their first round picks until 2027 to other NBA teams. And by other NBA teams, I basically mean the Oklahoma City Thunder. So with Paul George's injury history, we have to remember that the Los Angeles Clippers could easily become the new version of the Brooklyn Nets when the Brooklyn Nets gave up all of their first round picks to the Boston Celtics in exchange for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, only to watch as Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett left and then the Brooklyn Nets were absolutely terrible. We very well could be watching horrible Clippers teams until, who knows, like the 2030 season, because even when they start getting their first round picks back in 2027, they're not exactly going to turn things around fast. So if I was a Clippers fan, I would be very worried at this point because if they do not turn it around, if they do not start winning against the Dallas Mavericks, this entire thing, like I mentioned right in the beginning of this video, could implode. And now, having said that, let's talk about Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks, because I will hand it to Kawhi. He had a great game in game 2. I mean, he definitely slowed down in the second half, but in the first half, he dropped around 30 points. The man did his thing. However, and this is one of the biggest problems for the Los Angeles Clippers, their inability to adjust, because the Dallas Mavericks adjusted. They slowed Kawhi Leonard down. They held him to just 11 points in the second half. Meanwhile, the man, Luka Doncic, just absolutely went off for the second game in a row. And really, are we surprised? At this point, I don't think it's a stretch to say that out of everyone in the NBA, if I want to win a playoff series, I think I would rank Luka Doncic as one of my top 5 players to do so. Now, already, Luka has done amazing things in the regular season. There is no denying that. In order to be considered a truly great player in this league, you have to have playoff success, and Luka has not quite done that yet. Last year, for sure, he had an amazing first round series, but his team didn't win. This season, the Dallas Mavericks, seeded as the number 5 seed, they've already gone in and won both of the first 2 games against the Clippers on the Clippers home court. If they're able to finish this off, if Luka keeps playing the way he's been playing, well then we're probably going to be looking at a Dallas Mavericks versus Utah Jazz second round matchup, and there is for sure a possibility that the Mavericks continue their hot stretch and just keep on going. They could keep going right to the Western Conference Finals, and from there, who knows what's going to happen. Right now, they are a team that I genuinely think anything can happen with, because they have that otherworldly superstar talent in Luka Doncic. And we have to remember, Luka just turned 22 years old. It is not a stretch at all to say that we could be potentially watching one of the all-time greats take his first leap, because this is what all-time greats do. They take down teams like the Clippers. They not only dominate their opponents, but in a lot of ways they embarrass them, and that is what Luka has been doing. He has been trash talking this whole series. I know for a fact this man is incredibly excited to get a second chance at the Clippers this season. He's mad at what the Clippers did to him last year. The Clippers, they have everything to lose right now, while meanwhile the Mavericks, they're a team on the rise. Luka is a player on the rise. So at the end of the day, while I will say that right now the story is what happens if the Clippers lose, is Kawhi Leonard going to stay? Is this entire team going to just blow up basically? What I will also say is that after this series, if the Clippers do lose, my eyes, and I'm sure all eyes, are going to be on Luka Doncic, because this could be his first great playoff run. Personally, I cannot wait to see what happens in the rest of the series. I think the Mavs are going to take it. I think that this is going to be Luka's first playoff series win. So there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are new to this channel, remember to subscribe. If you're already subscribed, make sure to turn on post notifications. As always, guys, you're awesome and have an awesome day, and cue that music. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're going to love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.